Today we're going to be talking about what it was like working at Amazon. It was something else. It was actually something else. I worked at Amazon just about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was kind of a job that I did out of desperation. Not even really desperation. It's just I wasn't making any money. And I was like 17, 18. No, I just turned 18. And I started working at Amazon. And today we are going to get into if it was worth it, the horrible things that took place, and if I would ever recommend Amazon to anybody else. But first of all, I'm Dayson. I've been doing media for about 4 or 5 years. I teach other media creatives to see the vision. I also help them to grow their vision, and I help them to turn their creativity into a career. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to me. Follow me. We talk about pop culture here. We talk about media. We talk about everything. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I started working at Amazon, like I said, when I was about 17, 18. And the only thing that they had available at that time was what they call temporary work. They had a seasonal employee. And when I say Amazon, like when I see people online, they're like, oh, I loved working at Amazon. Y'all weren't in the trenches with us, okay? Y'all were out there either in your little truck driving somewhere or you were packing no, we were straight at the intake, okay? We handled the stuff that came off of the trucks and then put it into the boxes so that it could be shipped out the next day. And this was some interesting environments and work and all that good stuff. It was definitely something interesting. So I got hired because I was online and I was looking for the job, and people Indeed, it was around Christmas time. I just kept seeing that Amazon needed workers because around Christmas time, there's a rush. When I went to the actual Amazon website, they hired me like that. Like it wasn't even it took like maybe a day to hear back. Hired me just like that. I went through their own internal, process to go ahead and get inside, and it was really, really quick. The only thing about the hiring process was the orientation. So you had to go there for 3 days and do an orientation, and the orientation was long. It was like a 7-8 hour orientation every single day. The first day was like maybe 5 hours, and the rest of the days were like 7 to 8, and it was rough, right? So first thing I wish somebody would have told me, first thing that you notice when you get there, it's cold as balls in there. It's like freezing cold. I think the reason, it helped because it's like 2:00 in the morning. It's 2:00 in the morning that they have you do the orientation. Nothing is happening during the day. That's first of all. So when they tell you that you need to be there at a certain date, your date needs to account for that it's only that day 2 hours removed. So like if they say it's the 17th and they want you to be there on the 18th, they don't mean be there at the 18th at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. They mean the 18th at 2 or 1 a.m. It just turned the 18th. So that almost tripped me up. And they wanted to make sure that you understood that too. But, first thing you do, you notice when you get there, you get inside the room and it's cold. It's like freezing. Literally freezing. Next day, women were bringing blankets. I was coated and suited and booted. Like you could see your breath. You could literally see your breath in these rooms. It's freezing cold. Orientation was great. You move through it super quickly, but it's just tiring. You got to make sure you don't fall asleep. And then you got to pass the test. There's a test that they do at the end of every single day. So it was interesting. I really feel like the vibe when I first walked into the warehouse was like, oh my God, slavery still exists. I'm so sorry. I'm literally so sorry. I literally felt like, oh, we slaves. And it's crazy. And everybody looked so sad, and everybody was literally being controlled by a manager being told what to do. And it just kind of felt like either prison or slavery, one of the two. So the position that I got, there are multiple different positions that you can have while you're there. Everybody really is, a stocker essentially. But you have sorting, you have the person who puts the stuff in the bags, because Amazon doesn't just deliver you boxes. They have bags full of boxes that they put inside the truck. So you have people who do that. You have people that split. Splitting is when it comes down the conveyor belt from the people who are taking it off of the truck at the dock. We'll get to the dock in a second. And they would split, basically, split the stuff according to on the conveyor belt, because there are people on each side of the conveyor belt, and it's like 12 people all the way down on a bunch of rows. I wish I took pictures of that. I should have. And you split somebody has to be at the top. 2 people or so have to be at the top, splitting the boxes for each side. So there's that job. And then there are managers. There are people who go around. There's different tiers of managers. They're safety people. There's the HR people. Then there's the literal managers. And they differentiate themselves by means of color. So, you have red for the very, very top dogs. And oh my God, do they have a stick up their butt? They think that they're the stuff. It's so bad. So we'll get to that in just a second. So I did a lot of stuff. Like I started off, only putting the stuff in the bags. So what you do is they give you like this thing that they put on your finger, and then you have like a thing that goes on your arm, and you just scan, and it tells you what box you need to put what bag you need to put the box in. All your boxes come on this cart. People are bringing you these carts and stuff with boxes, and they're always in the center aisle, and all you're doing is basically like a grocery store stocker. You go grab your stuff, put it in the bag. Go grab your box, put it in the bag, take a cart full, and start putting it in bags. No music. You're not allowed to listen to music. You can have Amazon-approved headphones, which really aren't any different from, the AirPods that have, the live listen on. But I understand they can't verify that you don't have live listen on, and you could have on noise cancellation. So a lot of us, what we do, this is why I wear hats, actually, because it was so cold in there. First of all, we would wear the hats, and then we would also just like put our AirPods underneath our hat so that nobody could tell. I'd put my AirPod, I'd take the one for the other side, put it upside down, and hide it in the hat so you couldn't even tell. So that's a habit. That's why I wear hats. It's a habit I brought from Amazon. So you start doing that, but if you get really, really good, they call it a pick rate. If you get really good at putting stuff in boxes fast enough, then they start moving you to different things like splitting, for example. They will put you on the conveyor belt. On the conveyor belt, you can either be at the very, very top or you can be in the middle. Pray if they put you in the middle or at the end, because we're all tired. 2 o'clock in the morning, and things are going to get missed. And there are thousands of boxes, like tens of thousands of boxes that the entire facility has to take care of every single shift. So, you got, let's say there's a rush, and all of a sudden you get a couple hundred boxes that come all at once, and there's only 12 to 20 people on this one line and hundreds of boxes. It gets overwhelmed. Boxes start falling off the conveyor belt. People get angry. Somebody's falling asleep and they're missing too many boxes, because each of us are responsible for a letter. The person at the very top, let's say, is responsible for A. The person at the bottom is responsible for Z. If I'm responsible for A, I got A, B, and C. I knew I need to take A, B, and C off the conveyor belt and put it on my little shelf behind me. The next person has has like D, E, and I don't know my ABCs, okay? But this is the point. You got to make sure you're taking care of your own. And if you're tired or you're missing some, you don't, and then you just end up screwing everybody else down the line, and people get angry at you. And so when you're at the bottom, because everybody's missing something, it's rough. It's really rough. But fortunately, most of the times, I was at the top. I'm the one who's responsible for splitting the boxes so that I know that A goes to this side and I know W goes to the other side. 1, 2, 3, and you're just sitting here moving and splitting. That's a great job to have if you're up, energetic, and awake, and typically I was. But when you get into a groove and it's a lot of fun, then yeah, it's great. But then if you get a couple hundred all at once, then people are mad at you because you didn't do your job correctly. So it's whatever. So normal day for me, like I would get started. I had to wake up at around 1. I lived really close to the facility. I lived like 15, 20 minutes away. So I would get up at around 1 o'clock. And this is another thing, especially like for most of us temporary seasonal workers, but I worked there for a little bit longer than just temporary. They extended me. For most of us, the schedule was never the same thing. So it really was torture. Like night shift is one thing. It's already bad enough. We never had a set night shift. Sometimes they would have me coming at 4. Sometimes they would have me coming at 2. Sometimes you couldn't get any hours, so it would be 1, and then the next day it would be 2. Sometimes it'd be 6 a.m., and then you have to stay there. Like, I remember working from 2 to 12, sometimes from literally 2 to 2. Like, 12-hour days. It's no joke. Amazon schedule sucks, and you're not getting. The pay was so bad. I genuinely don't remember. Like, I decided to come up with this video like 10 seconds ago. I genuinely do not remember what the pay was, but it was abysmal. For anybody that's getting up to do a multi-billion-dollar company's pay, we need to be getting paid more. It wasn't really worth it, in my personal opinion. This is why people riot all the time. This is why people are rioting at Amazon, because the pay was horrible. And then they'll be like, oh, well, we give you Chick-fil-A on special days. Get out of my face. I could go and get Chick-fil-A on my own. Whatever. It was something else. Now, Amazon is extremely strict about breaks. They're extremely strict about being late, bathroom breaks, all that good stuff. And they track your productivity. Essentially, it's robots that are tracking your productivity. Like, for example, if you're a stalker, the thing that's on your arm and the thing that's on your finger it's tracking you. It's actively tracking how fast you're doing what you're doing, how often you screw up, how many times you step away. It knows everything. And there are cameras all over the place. You know, that didn't stop anybody from stealing. We'll get to that. Well, the people is really the main juice of it. But just as far as Amazon goes, like, that's actually the reason that I got fired from Amazon, because the system is not as lenient as the people are. So that's something that you should know about. And I don't think it was necessarily a physically exhausting job. The physically exhausting only came from just how tired you were. And it only came from the fact that you were super, super tired. You're up early in the morning. But other than that, I mean, I feel like it was okay. I mean, just like any other job, you really did feel like a slave. Like, no extra bathroom breaks than what's needed. Don't take too long. The breaks were like, 15 minutes. No, not even 15-minute breaks. I think you had like one 15-minute break, and then you had one 30-minute to not even an hour lunch break, 30-minute lunch break. I could be getting this mixed up. It's been a while though. So let's talk about the people there. The people were abysmal. Like, and I just want to clarify this. The managers, for the most part, were abysmal. I will not call his name because I'm pretty sure he follows me, but he knows exactly who he is, and I follow him back. But I'm not shy to say, these managers, bro. First of all, everybody who is a manager has like graduated with like, a master's degree or something like that. Like, they've gone through the full 4 years of college, and they have some kind of decoration, some kind of name. And they literally think that they are the best thing since sliced bread. As a full reminder, you went through all those years of college just for us to end up in the same place. So I don't know why you feel like you the stuff. I'm so sorry. Like, you got... I'm so sorry. I do not mean to be disrespectful. But this is the attitude that I'm not joking. This is what one of them said. Okay, so I'll tell you the story. One of my managers, because like most of the people who are here working are like low-income people who really need a job, don't have any other way. This is like one of their main jobs, and they go work their day job. So, I mean, we get a variety of people. We get older people, younger people. You get thugs. You get respectable people. You get any kind of person that walks through those doors. You're going to get any single person. So it's an older lady. I'd put her maybe like 60s, late 60s. And she's working with Amazon. She got a back brace on and everything. And one of the managers, red vest, who, he went through college and, all this other stuff, he is yelling at the lady. Like, yelling. So the lady starts chewing him out. He starts chewing her back out. And he's saying all sorts of abusive things. And she's like, you're mean to every single person every time you come in. Like, don't you think we deserve respect? And I kid you not, he said, no, you don't deserve respect. Whoa. So I went up to him like a little bit after everything cooled down. I'm like, why? I said, literally everybody here hates you. Do you know? I've never been the one to mince words. I was very clear. I said, everybody here hates you, right? And he was like, yeah, I don't care. They hate me because of where they're at in life, and I'm doing better than them. Mind you, we're all in the same building here, okay? I'm a college dropout, but I know for a certainty I ain't less or better than anybody, and we are all in the same building working for the same company. So that's first. This is what I'm thinking. He goes, they hate me because I'm better than them. Look at where they're at. Look at their vest color. What does vest color got to do with anything? But whatever. So we keep going, and he's like, it's like, but you know that they're like people, right? Like, you're treating them like they're less than people. Kid you not. No, they're not people. They are less than people. They made their choices. I chose to get my money up. I chose to get my bread up. That's their fault, not mine. I kid you not. It was so disgusting. Then he starts talking about how he's a man of God. I said, what man of God would ever talk to somebody like that? We're not going at it, but we're sitting here talking. And mind you, I'm 18 years old. He has to be like 25, 26, maybe. But he doesn't give off 25, 26. He gives off like 30. And he's like, I like you, Dayson. You're different from the rest of them. Don't do that. Don't play that. But this is the mentality that a lot of the managers had. They thought that because they went through school and they were managers at Amazon, they're better. I didn't have time for it. That was one of the things that really bothered me about working at Amazon. And I really wish that everybody knew that. Like, most of the red jackets that work there are awful. I want to talk about the other people. Most of my coworkers were awesome. Like, they were really lit. For the most part, it was a lot. I became friends with a lot of the older ladies there because they look out for you. They show you respect and everything. One thing that everybody knew about Amazon was that you didn't want to work at the dock. Don't know what it was. One of the older ladies that was there, I forget her name, but she was so sweet. She told me, she was like, you don't want to be working at the dock, baby. Trust me, you don't want to. I'm like, why? She said, there's a lot of drug activity that happens down there and a lot of fights that break out. Now, I will say, I understand how she could see that, because eventually I did start working at the dock, because it's a much different vibe than working at the front. Of course, the managers are still buttholes, but it's a much different vibe. And I understand where she was talking about drugs, because there was a lot of theft that happened. Like people would steal iPhones, because you could tell what iPhones are. People would steal things that they can tell what it is would be expensive. And because we're literally dealing with trucks unloading at the very rip, I'm sure it's very easy to get drugs inside of Amazon from wherever they're coming from. The truck drivers maybe, or whatever, people who were talking to the truck drivers, people maybe hidden compartments in the truck. I understand where it was easy, but I just minded my own business and I kept to myself. It definitely was hood down there. Like the music also, you could hear the dock from when you first enter, and the music was always pumping, bro. That music kept you awake, though. It kept you alive. And there was no, like, filters or nothing like that. I mean, honestly, it was a vibe working at the dock. But you do have to be careful. Like, if you stick to your own and mind your own business, I never really ran into any issues. But I understand how easy it would be to run into issues, because there's also less supervision out that way. So, that's another thing. Lots of public displays of affection. Lots of lewd acts. A lot of people making out. A lot of people trying to, do things in the corners and stuff, because it's, 2:00 in the morning and everybody's in their PJs and revealing clothes and everything. So, there's that. So you got to mind out for that as well. But other than that, the people, I would say, were pretty cool. You just gotta mind your own business and just come to work. Really, that's what you got to do. You got to come to work. Something that really surprised me about Amazon, I don't even really know. I just want to comment again about how cold it was. It was very, 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 very cold. I hate working in the cold so bad. Like, people don't understand. If you put me in any kind of condition where it's cold, I shut down. I literally shut down. It's not good for me. So, and I guess another cool thing that I learned about Amazon, I guess how organized it is, the process. You don't really realize that it's like multiple branches working together every single day just to make sure everybody gets their packages. And another cool thing I learned was that these vans are not Amazon. They are not owned by Amazon. Like, anybody, the workers and the vans are basically subcontracted out by individual contractors, basically like FedEx or whatever, which is why you'll see your Amazon packages delivered in like a U-Haul or like a UPS van or something, not like, just like an unmarked van. It's because those vans aren't owned by Amazon. They're owned by different contractors who are their own boss. And so that was pretty cool. But just to see how it all worked together, see how, like your packages get there, it was a cool process to see, but it wasn't fun working there. And I eventually ended up working at Amazon again, because I became a mechanic after I left Amazon. And the mechanic people, they put me back through school. The dealership put me back through school. And so I went to service Amazon vehicles. And so I saw my old boss, and all of a sudden, hey, somebody's more than a person, because now I'm pulling up on you at your job. Okay? It was very interesting to see. And the older ladies there, they were so proud of me. They're like, we're so proud. You got out. I never intended to stay. I never intended to stay. Why? I didn't want to stay. I don't understand, everybody's circumstances are different, but I've never had the mentality where if I'm unhappy, I'm going to stay in something that makes me unhappy. Other people don't have that luxury because they have, dependents, children, or they have, they don't want to be. I was homeless. They don't want to be homeless. They don't want to do nothing like that. So I have a jump or die kind of mentality. I'm a jump if I'm unhappy, and we're going to figure it out from there and jump to the next ledge, not like whatever. Anyway. And then the final question I have written here is, why did I leave? And knowing what I know now, would I work at Amazon again? I left because I got fired. So remember how we talked about how strict they are earlier? They are very, very strict. Like, basically what they did is you have a couple chances to be late. And if, like, basically they call it an 8-strike thing, but it's not really 8 strikes. It's like 3. And so I was late a couple of times. Basically, I had fallen asleep in my car, and it was an accident, and I didn't mean to. So I really have nobody else to fault except for that. So they cleared my streak. So they were like, okay, you're good, because, I was able to talk to my managers, explain the situation. Because I'm a good worker also. I put out great numbers. They were finna make me an assistant manager, which is just a little step up. I was going to be one of the green guys, one of the green vests. And they were really excited. Some of them were really excited because they felt that I was a good worker and, I had a nice, friendly personality and I was different. Well, Amazon doesn't care about that because also after the season ends, when they don't need you anymore, they don't need you anymore. So I had one of the best pick rates out of everybody there. Didn't matter. They still went ahead and cut me because if they felt like the fact that they had to wipe out my streak, because enough time had passed, they felt that they had to wipe out my streak. I just wasn't a asset to them anymore. So they let me go. So I didn't have any choice. The first thing they did was they started lowering my hours to make it hard to live. And then they let me go after my shift. So I got off at 4 a.m. and then I got an email at like 4:03. You're done. Don't return to Amazon. I was like, dang, it's ridiculous. So it's okay because I showed up, 6 months later as my own boss with a mechanic van and showed up and showed out. So it's all right. But that's okay. That's just my story of me working at Amazon. If you liked it, if you laughed at, listened, or learned anything, go ahead and follow. Give me a thumbs up. It helps push me in the algorithm. And yeah, I go live every single Wednesday. I do teach one-on-one coaching if you want to figure out how to be your own boss like me. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.